Hello, today I make video debunking Reese Jerome 487. His claim, you ignore the commandment to obey your priest, canons must be applied by bishops, not laymen. My answer. The church teaches obedience, but obedience is to the church in truth, not to error. The fathers distinguish obedience to lawful pastoral authority within the tradition from blind submission to actions that contradict the faith. The canons, the apostolic and the councils, forbid praying and ministering with heretics. They are not private hobby rules, they are safeguards of the faith. Saints and canonical writers insist that canons be applied by the church, but when the church's ministers themselves act contrary to established canonical practice, the faithful are not left without recourse. There are many patristic examples where saints resisted bishops when those bishops were innovating or corrupt. Pastoral point. Encourage the person to bring concerns to his spiritual father. That is proper. But if the spiritual father or synod is moving the church into consistently compromising practices, the faithful must seek the truth humbly, consult elder confessors and canonical guides, and act to preserve the faith rather than collude in its dilution. His claim, dialogue and cooperation on moral issues are not heresy. Moscow hasn't signed union or denied the creed. My answer. Cooperation for the common good, helping the poor, opposing injustice, is not itself heresy. But the fathers differentiate cooperation from liturgical and ecclesial fellowship. The danger is the slippery slope. Occasional cooperation becomes recognition. Recognition becomes concelebration. And concelebration becomes the acceptance of heterodox rites as having saving grace. Saint Mark of Ephesus debated Latins but refused any union that compromised dogma. He showed how one can speak and witness without accepting or legitimizing heterodox sacramental claims. That balance is what the genuine Orthodox insist on, witness without ecclesial fellowship. Pastoral point. It is legitimate to work on moral causes together. It becomes uncanonical and dangerous when that cooperation is presented or practiced as churchly fellowship or as evidence that heterodox communions possess the church's sacramental life. His claim, strictness outside obedience is disobedience. Zeal without obedience leads to prelest. Ignatius Briankoninoff. My answer, St. Ignatius warns rightly, zeal without guidance becomes spiritual delusion. That is a true fear. But there is also a patristic and canonical teaching that truth precedes juridical obedience. One cannot use obedience as a cover to accept doctrinal error. The fathers hold that if bishops teach or practice what is clearly contrary to the canons and the creed, the faithful must not follow into heresy. The old believers are a historical lesson. Some resisted correctly, some resisted wrongly. Each case must be judged by fidelity to the faith, not by exaggerated formulas. Avoid pride, avoid schism, but also avoid acquiescing to doctrinal confusion. Pastoral point. Humility and seeking a spiritual father are essential. But if repeated, public breaches of the canons occur and the local hierarchy refuses correction, the faithful must consult elder confessors, monasteries of known fidelity, or other canonical remedies rather than simply accept innovations that change the church's life. Alright guys, this is my first editing video, please forgive me, I'm really terrible at it.